Hey everybody, welcome to Fantasy R&R. This is your host Ryan.
And I'm Rob.
And today we're giving you some players you could add going into the Memorial Day weekend, which, as we all know,
freedom isn't free. No, there's a hefty thugging fee. This is Fantasy with Rob and Ryan. Fantasy R&R.
and we'll be starting at catcher and then rounding the diamond, beginning with Minnesota Twins catcher Mitch Garver. Rob, why don't you give us some reasons managers should add him at this point in the season?
Yeah, well, for starters, catcher is the worst position. We've already gone over that a few times. Mitch Garver seems to finally be hitting. Started off the season pretty cold and has been popping off as of late. And I believe Mitch Garver will be a pretty solid as of right now as he continues to hit.
And Cincinnati catcher Tyler Stevenson. Got any input on him?
Yeah, Tyler Stevenson is one of Cincinnati's young guns. Looks like they're taking the reins off him. He's been playing for the majority of the time, hitting in the meat of that very potent Reds lineup. So snag him while you can, because I think once this guy starts going off, could potentially be a top 10 catcher going into the rest of the season. Big power upside, and again, while he's batting third, fourth, or fifth in that lineup, he is a must-add before it is way too late.
One last catcher here, and this could be something that you might say is a little bit of a fountain of youth situation like we talked about last time. James McCann on the Mets after a huge rout of Atlanta. What kind of outlook do you have on him for the rest of the season, and should managers look to add him right now?
Yeah, the Mets going into this season signed him to it was like a 4-year, $40 million plus deal. So he's gonna play. He's finally starting to hit, had a couple of home runs last couple weeks. So I say add him now. Again, very similar to that of Stevenson before it's too late, because first couple of months of the season, batters are just trying to get adjusted to pitching, which is what has been happening the last few months. And McCann might just be, being a little older, like you had said, of a fountain of youth, could just now be starting to find his groove.
Let's talk about first base, maybe the only guy we're going to do on this list. Arizona Diamondbacks first baseman Pavin Smith. I think he got 3 hits in the loss yesterday to the Cardinals. Is this somebody that you would add right now to kind of save teams with all the injuries going on?
Yeah, he was a hot pickup a couple weeks ago, then kind of cooled off, but has been hitting the cover off the ball the last few games. Arizona is just in dire need of hitting right now. Pavin Smith's not going to lose his spot in this lineup. And again, like as you said, it had a big game yesterday. Just continues to hit. Just go ahead and add him for average. I don't think so much power there, but RBI opportunity for sure in a much needed Arizona lineup.
All right, so let's just move on to second base here. We'll go out to Detroit. Tigers second baseman Jonathan Schoop just hit a long ball. What's your outlook on him going forward as far as managers adding him?
Another fountain of youth kind of guy. He's always been pretty solid. He's been batting cleanup the last few games. Has been popping off as of late. RBI really aren't going to be there, but if you're in dire need of a second base position right now, Jonathan Schoop could potentially be your guy. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, only signed a 1-year deal with Detroit. Could get shipped out, at the trade deadline to a contender. So look to see where he's available if you're in need of a second base position.
Another candidate for Ponce de Leon's fountain of youth here. Let's do one more, actually. Donovan Solano on the Giants. I think he just smashed 2 home runs yesterday. So is this just one of those guys that you can stay away from, or let's jump on him while you can? I mean, would you drop anybody for him, for example?
Well, he's been nicked up a majority of this season. He's homered like 2 of the last 3 games, I want to say. But, again, a guy who just last year had a really solid year, much to that of Schoop. I forgot to mention that, being the truncated season. But Donovan Solano was a very solid hitter last year. Could be finding his groove. Again, another older guy, like you had said, of fountain of youth. Could be finding his footing now in a very surprising San Francisco Giants lineup.
Somebody I just added as we move on to third base. Evan Longoria, he's been on a bit of a tear lately, currently on the Giants. Another dude, a little bit older, but, for example, if you're light on third base right now, that this might be the guy that you can still find on waivers?
Yeah, as we had talked about in our Fountain of Youth podcast, last podcast prior to this one, we got to stress him a little bit. Looking into his numbers, getting a little nerdy here, third highest exit velo this year behind only that of Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. So, very high praise right now for the ball coming off the bat there. Evan Longoria should be rostered. Again, very similar to that of Donovan Solano if he's really starting to pop off. Buster Posey's having this monster season, revitalizing his career. Evan Longoria should be picked up. If you have a utility spot open, I don't see why you're not adding Evan Longoria right now as we speak.
All right, and shortstop, rounding out the infield here. We're going to talk about Freddie Galvez, former Blue Jay, current Baltimore Oriole, maybe another candidate we could have talked about last time, Fountain of Youth. What's your outlook for managers adding him this week?
Yeah, he's up to 9 home runs, surprisingly, going super under the radar, playing that in Baltimore. Not a lot of people are paying attention to, outside of Trey Mancini, not really paying much attention to Baltimore. But Freddie Galvez needs your attention right now. Shortstop is a very shallow position. I'm sure a lot of players had Trevor Story in their lineups. He's on the IL. This could be a very solid, it could be a very solid add right now. If this is a hot wave, sure, we've seen it from him before, but, another Fountain of Youth guy kind of just making a name for himself out in Baltimore. Need your attention.
Next shortstop, Brendan Rodgers. Rob, you've always talked about how you think everybody should have a player with a Colorado Rocky in the first place. Is this guy still available on wires for most people to go after?
Yeah, very speculative ad here. We're going a deep dive, going super deep on this one. But Brendan Rodgers has always had the pedigree of a top prospect, has been nicked with injuries left and right, and just as you had said, he plays in Colorado. Why not, speaking of Trevor Story, why not pick up his fill-in here? Brendan Rodgers should be added. He doesn't need to be started right away. Bench him, put him on your watch list at least, but Brendan Rodgers could be making some waves here very soon.
Last shortstop we're going to do, Milwaukee Brewer, Willy Adames. Give us the rundown.
Yeah, Willy Adames is finally out of the trop. This has been a home-road split kind of guy who is very young, too, mind you. I believe 24, 25. Milwaukee traded for him just a couple weeks ago, if that, and he's not going to have any problems starting and has been hitting home runs, surprisingly enough, in a very hitters-friendly park out in Milwaukee. You're needing shortstop again. Willy Adames, don't sleep on this guy. This guy hits the ball very hard. Does he strike out a lot? Yes, but when he makes contact, it's very loud, very hard, and he's going over the fence.
Get nerdy for me here as we go out to the loneliest place in Little League, the outfield. This is your must-add of the week if he's still available. Tyler O'Neill on St. Louis. Get nerdy with some stats for me here.
As a matter of fact,
I've been a very huge fan of Tyler O'Neill. St. Louis is finally allowing him to play full-time, and lo and behold, look what's happening. Now, mind you, he just came off the IL, but since the IL stint, last 3 games, 3 home runs. Prior to that, the guy was going off. In his last 9 games played, he's batting a .343, 6 bombs, 13 RBI, and a robust 1350 OPS. This guy is bashing the ball. They said when he was on the IL, they were adjusting with his grip. Lo and behold, as I had just previously stated, in the last 3 games, he's hit 3 home runs. Clearly, this grip work has helped. Tyler O'Neill, to me, is a must-add. Is outfield deep? Yes, it is very deep. But when a guy can hit home runs like this, and when it takes just a couple critiquing of whether the hands or foot placement or whatnot, it looks like they unlocked something very big in Tyler O'Neill, who, mind you, was a very big prospect with St. Louis. That lineup is stacked. I think it's only a matter of time until this guy's back in cleanup with guys like, Arenado, Goldschmidt, Yadier Molina, Tommy Edman, and Dylan Carlson around him. This guy has the potential to be like a top 20 to 25 outfielder come seasons, and I really believe in this guy.
And I totally agree. Every young man should be concerned with their grip. All right, let's go on to Kyle Schwarber. Just getting some of that Boston accent going here. Former Chicago Cub left fielder, now with the Washington Nationals. Do you think he's starting to revitalize himself at the age of 28 here?
Yeah, he's a streaky hitter, but he's hitting home runs. I mean, the guy's bashing. He's hitting in the middle of a Washington lineup that needs home runs, that needs hits. And he's doing what Kyle Schwarber does. I say why not? I don't think he's as much of a Tyler O'Neill ad, or as much of an ad as Tyler O'Neill is, but I think Kyle Schwarber can definitely help with outfield. And Washington, especially once Juan Soto gets hitting, is going to be a pretty solid lineup. So, yeah, add Kyle Schwarber where needed at left field, but Tyler O'Neill is number 1 in my book right now.
Yeah, and guys, Kyle Schwarber, you still could go out on the waiver wire and probably find him in Yahoo leagues alone. He's 63% rostered, but he is up 8% from last week, so you're going to see him start to disappear from your waiver wires, which is going to bring us up to our next outfielder, Trevor Larnach, Minnesota Twins. We might be diving deep here. Give us the rundown on this guy and why people should add him this week.
Yeah, grab your snorkel here for Memorial Day because we're diving super deep. Trevor Larnach is a very big prospect who has been overshadowed by that of Alex Kirnoff. But this guy himself in the minors, very patient hitter with monster power. I believe he just hit his 3rd home run the other game. You know, start off kind of slow, but he's a rookie. This is what happens to a lot of guys. And again, like we had said earlier in Minnesota, looking for hits, and Mitch Garver's starting to hit. They're going to let this guy play out, see what happens. It sounds like Byron Buxton isn't anywhere close to coming back anytime soon. So I think this guy is going to have plenty of time for getting his feet wet in Minnesota. And just keep a close eye on him. Don't have to add him. Again, I still say Tyler O'Neill and Kyle Schwarber is prioritized before this guy. But don't let this guy slip through your fingers. This guy could be very, very, very good.
Last outfielder we're going to talk about, maybe the most speculative at this moment. In fact, today, Sunday, May 30th, if I don't get this podcast out by the end of today, we are talking about Edward Olivas. He's going to be making his debut against Minnesota. This is a deep, deep dive. We're talking Mariana Trench. I want to hear your thoughts on this man and if he could be a viable ad for our managers out there.
Yes, Edward Olivas is a very, very speculative ad, but this guy has a very high ceiling. 25 years old. In 81 games in Triple-A Omaha this year, batted a .395, 5 bombs, 4 doubles, 7 stolen bases. He's batting 6th today. Yeah, the Kansas City outfield's been wishy-washy. Soler, I believe, just got injured too, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is where this pickup got from. Was made.
Good riddance.
Yeah, good riddance. This guy, solar, what do you call him? Solar eclipse. I love that. No solar power there.
Solar eclipse, man.
This could be an addition from subtraction out in Kansas City right now. This guy needs to at least be watched, but he has a Cunha-type power, Cunha-type stolen base, and average. This guy could be a difference maker. Pay very close attention to Edward Olivas. I like what Kansas City's doing. They need a spark plug. This could be it going forward.
Excellent. All right, we're going to get into starting pitchers here. Let's talk about Rich Hill, the Tampa Bay Rays. And just speaking of Boston, he's a Boston native. This guy is probably not even Fountain of Youth. We're talking convalescent home. But he is revitalizing himself for this particular season. If he's out on the waiver wire, should guys grab him and roll with him for the rest of the season?
Yeah, we're talking about Rich Hill. We talk about Rich Hill every year. Tampa Bay signed him. He's been doing very, very good. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. This guy get injured. But hey, he's healthy right now. Let's go with it. We're dipping into the Fountain of Youth here. Geriatric hour is in full effect with Rich Hill. Add him where you can if he's available. Tampa Bay's offense has been on fire this year. They're doing great things. Take a look. Fountain of Youth, Richard Hill. I'm going Dick Hill right here, right now.
Dick Hill. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, next guy I want to talk about here, Alec Manoah on the Blue Jays. Give us a rundown here.
Yeah, opposite of the Fountain of Youth, we're dipping into the Youth Fountain here. Alec Manoah looked very, very good against the Yankees. Toronto's been hitting. They need all the pitching help that they can get. Look to see if Alec Manoah has been added. I'm sure he has. I think in Yahoo, I just looked. I think it was over 65%. Of course, it's a speculative ad, but what do a lot of managers tend to do? If this guy has a bad outing, his second outing, he'll be dropped. If so, capitalize. Pick this guy up where you can.
Yeah, I mean, we all hoard starting pitchers. So guys out there, I mean, the 68%, that's even kind of misleading because this dude just over the past week has been added 49% of roster. Right. So, I mean, he's probably swept up everywhere, but if you see him out there, you might as well nab him. On to our last starting pitcher here, Adbert Alzolay, the Chicago Cubs. You and me talked about him. We got him on one of my teams to help me with a few of my wins and ERA. He had a good outing, has had a couple of good outings. You think he's going to keep it up, and should people just go ahead and snag him for the rest of the season?
Yeah, very much so. On the flip side, where everybody's grabbing Manoah, I don't understand why Alzolay isn't getting the same treatment. This guy's not walking hitters. If the last time I checked, he had a whip of a .80 something, I believe. This guy's got pinpoint control. Only has 2 pitches, which is where a lot of people are starting to be very speculative of him. This guy looks really, really good. He was a top prospect with Chicago. but for some reason in fantasy circles, he's not getting the attention that this guy deserves. Went through, now mind you, the elements weren't that great in his start against Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's a very scary team and just carved right through that lineup through, I think, 6 2/3, if I'm not mistaken, just the other day. Pick up Adbert Alzolay. This guy could be a difference maker come season's end and needs your attention now.
Okay, and last guy we're going to talk about is a relief pitcher here for the Tampa Bay Rays, J.P. Firerose. This guy is only rostered in 13% of leagues right now in Yahoo, up 3% from last week. Give us a rundown on him.
Yeah, as the aforementioned Willy Adames, this was part of that Willy Adames trade. Firerose went to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has been able to revitalize careers for relief pitching for whatever reason for the longest time. And J.P. Firerose looked like he started off the season real hot, got bashed up a couple outings before getting traded, and now suddenly has 2 saves. Tampa Bay has always went by like a closer by committee. It seems as if Firerose is firmly entrenched in that committee and could potentially be the closer going forward, with Diego Castillo battling some injuries here and there and little sporadic with his fastball placement. Firerose should be picked up. You're looking for saves, look at J.P. Firerose, and let's have a great Memorial Day, ladies and gentlemen.
I agree, because freedom isn't free. It costs $1.05. This was Fantasy R&R with Rob and Ryan. We will see you next time.
Freedom calls.